Welcome to the Carver Conservation Commission meeting of Wednesday, November 15th, 2023. We'll head right to our agenda and our order of business for tonight. First up on our agenda is under discussions in business, a certificate of compliance for DEP file SE 126-634. And that is 23 South Main Street, a new house on Route 58. We went out there today and did a site visit, and everything matched the plans that were submitted. They did put in a little bit of a retaining wall to stop some erosion, but it seems like a good solution, and it really doesn't change anything that we had earmarked before. So, does anybody else have any comments? Who is there today?
And they did put in all the conservation signs.
Yes, all the conservation signs are actually on 4x4s on a
You did
bevel.
a nice job out there.
Yeah,
Looks good.
Yeah, it looks really good.
it looks quite good. If no one else has any comments, I'll entertain a motion to approve the COC.
So moved.
Second? All right. Carl made the motion, Curtis made the second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the COC is okay. So we're good. Next up is 238 Tremont Street. Discussion. And this is directly across the street from the Dave's Liquors and the South Carver Post Office, and there's been work done in the back there. Tree cutting, clearing, stump removal, grading. And it is adjacent to a cranberry bog. So, Gary, can you just let us know how we got to this point, please?
Yes, there was a neighbor complaint. I forget the address, but it was given to the building inspector and passed on to me. So I went out and took a look at it and thought it warranted, you gentlemen to take a look at it, which we did today, and that's where we stand. He hasn't taken down any more trees or done, much more earthwork, which I asked him not to do. So, he did adhere to that.
Okay.
So that's where we're at. And as you notice, there's quite a bit of buffer activity going on out there.
Mm-hmm. The landowner was there during our site visit and walked us around the property and showed us what was being done, and also indicated, would you like to come up? You don't have to. You don't have to if you don't want to, but if you'd like to come up, just in case we have any questions. But we walked around the property today, and you did indicate that you were going to have someone come in and mark the wetlands, flag the wetlands. So until that's done, there really isn't much else we can say at this point. I do want to say a couple of things. What I'd like your wetlands person to do when he's flagging them is to take a Google Earth image and indicate on that where the flags are.
Okay.
All right, as opposed to, I don't think that we need to get a whole survey done at this point.
Not at this point.
So I'm thinking that, the Google Earth, I saw that today when we were out there, and on the, I guess, southwesterly part of the property, on the other side of the bog, there was a meadow there. It looked like there were not a lot of trees there to begin with, on going towards Wareham Street. So I just want to see,
Up on the barn? Oh,
no, the other way,
yep,
the other side of the bog,
yep,
farthest from where we came in.
yep.
Just looking at the Earth's
Yeah, there was
view.
a you know where you cleared, by the channel that lets the water out of the bog?
Yeah.
Okay, you did that area there. Then you go further away from the channel,
Mhm.
and there was a triangular piece that had, that had been cleared, whenever, and then you cleared some more further over. That's where he's talking about.
Right, anyway, I'd just like the flagging, where he puts the flags to be indicated on the satellite view.
Okay,
All right, so we can see, and this would be a satellite view, obviously, before you did the cutting, so,
Right.
so we can see in relationship
before
to.
and after, yep,
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
all right.
So, do you have any, you said the guy couldn't get out there right away,
Yeah.
but you expect him shortly, right?
Yeah, I don't know when. I'll contact him again and let you know.
Okay. Yeah, so until we see where the flagging, we'll have to go back for another site visit and
Sure.
just take a look to see where the wetlands are
Yeah.
indicated.
Yep.
But at this point, there's, it is cranberry, it is a cranberry bog.
Yep.
It's agricultural land, it's all 61A, correct?
No, it's not.
It's
No,
not.
That's not in 61A.
It's not?
No.
Okay. All right, but it's still agricultural.
Agricultural, yeah. And like
Okay.
I said, it was just maintenance that I thought. It was maybe a little bit too close.
Okay. All right, so I think we get it flagged, we take a look at it, we get the flags on an image from space and see what we need to do next. But, for the most part,
I won't touch that area.
okay,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Thank you. Just let Gary know when it's flagged so we can go out and take another look and we'll get you back on the agenda.
Okay, good. I'll give
All
you
right.
the phone number.
Do you have my phone number?
Yeah, I got a
Okay.
card already. Yeah.
All right, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Next up, an update on 17 Wareham Street.
Okay, we have progress. I had a constable deliver the enforcement order the beginning of last week, and the property owner has hired Brad Holmes. He's a local wetland scientist. And Brad sent me an email and he goes, as a follow-up to our phone conversation yesterday, ERC, that's Brad's company, is working with the homeowner to respond to the Conservation Commission's request. Right now, we are researching past site plans that we can use as a base for restoration proposal. We will keep you posted on the progress.
All right, no time, just posted on the progress. Okay.
And Brad would have come in tonight, the consultant, but he had prior commitments, so that's why I said at least send me an email.
Okay. All right, do we want to, this has been going on for a long time. Do we want to put a time limit on when we get an answer? Do we want to do it the next meeting or the?
Then we could go next meeting and, he said he'll let us know as progress is going. That
Why don't
gives
we
him-
ask him to come in at our
That
next
gives him
meeting?
3 weeks.
Yeah, why don't we let him, have him come in on the 6th?
No problem.
And tell us where he stands with all this.
Okay.
All right, well, hopefully the goats are well fed. There's not much left there for them to eat. Okay. So, that takes care of our discussions. Okay, we'll get to the minutes later. New public hearing, 90 Main Street. This is an RDA, a request for determination of applicability. Notice is hereby given in accordance with the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, MGL Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Carver Wetlands Protection Bylaw, that a public hearing will be held at 7:00 p.m. on Wednesday, November 15th, 2023, in Meeting Room 1 at the Carver Town Hall to hear the request for determination of applicability, RDA, filed by CAST Realty Trust to determine C, whether the work depicted on the reference plans is subject to the Wetlands Protection Act and its regulations, and D, whether the area and/or work depicted on the reference plans is subject to the jurisdiction of any municipal wetlands ordinance or bylaw of the town of Carver. The RDA is for installing a non-community public water supply treatment, non-hazardous holy tank, and dry well. The property is located at 990 Main Street, Assessors Map 71, Lot 7, Carver. All interested parties are invited to attend. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. Members of the commission, thank you for having me tonight. My name is Walter Hermano, professional engineer, Hermano Consultant Engineers for the record. And as stated, I'm here for Cass Realty Trust. They are the former owners of this property, and they are responsible for installing the nitrogen removal system. This is a treatment system for their existing well. It's located over in the back right hand of the property. They have a protected radius of 180 feet. This project that we're presenting before you involves no increase in any impervious area, no increase in the building. It's not even in regards to a septic system. It is in regards to a required holding tank and a dry well that must be installed for this treatment system. When they remove the nitrates, which the system's already installed in the back of the building right here, they have a backwash that pulls the nitrates out of the waste stream. And that backwash has a slightly low pH such that it has to be installed in a special tank. This is a 2,500 gallon holding tank. It has a proposed liner from Miller Environmental Engineers. On the inside, it's monolithic. It'll have a monolithic top. The entire work area in this project was developed back in 1986, and it has about 10 feet of fill. All the water along the back here gets picked up by a Cape Cod berm, channels down to a catch basin over here. Utilities that are on the property that are interfering a little bit with siting this is an electric underground system line and also an underground gas line. So I had to stay far enough away from them. We're also, the whole project is within everyone and anyone's interim wellhead protection area. So I've stayed as far away from every known well as possible. I've limited any possible encroachment on the wetlands shown on the plan. I've held it the minimum distance I possibly could from the building, which avoids the underground utilities, which I still have to cross with 2 pipes to get to the dry well in the tank. But that'll be determined if it'll go above or below. But I cannot put it any closer to the building. I prefer to keep it right off the berm for the reasons I've just stated, plus all the
I think that I jumped around a little bit, but that should cover most of what I wanted to hit on. And I'm happy to answer any questions. And thank you again for your time.
All right, well, the first thing I want to point out on this is that the initial application and the subsequent notice in the paper was incorrect.
Yes, there was an error in the NOI submission and the narrative. And when I reviewed the plan, I did find that the project does encroach the town buffer, the 65-foot buffer. So I did contact the consultant. They did follow up with a letter. So I don't know if you want to have me rewrite the legal ad to include that, you know, and have them come back the 6th, or how you want to handle that. That's up to the commissioners.
My opinion is that we should do it the right way. And I will continue with the hearing tonight. Got any questions that anybody here has or anybody out in the audience has? But then redo the NOI to include the variance that's going to be needed to do that.
That's what I would recommend too.
Yeah, and put that back in the paper and then get it for our next meeting on December 6th. And I suppose at that time, when we reopen it, I can ask if anybody who's not here tonight wants you to do this again. But otherwise, I think we can forego your whole presentation and just do it get the technicalities done.
Now, one more thing too. This, if anybody wants to have nightstand reading, this is the drainage report, right? Through the town planner, our review engineer is reviewing this, so I'm just gonna piggyback on that review. They haven't completed, reviewing this, so we're also waiting to hear from, our the town review engineer, to see if this is compliant. So, again, I don't know, we're tabling it, hopefully the review will be done by then too.
Right. Well, there is, other than the curb cuts and generally in that area, and a little bit on, it looks like just a touch of the cul-de-sac and the 100-foot, almost everything else here is outside.
Yeah, they
of our
did a fairly
jurisdiction.
good job of. Now, one thing, I did go over the performance standards for the riverfront area, and it is degraded, everyone, knows that knows that area up there, that property has a history. This is what they sent us. I requested this, they gave this after the filing. This purple bluish stripe here, that's where we walked today along that road. That's what they're gonna rip out and give back for the one-to-one mitigation. I think that's a really great proposal because it's right against the resource area and it's taking out asphalt, and they do have a good planting scheme to resolve that situation, so.
Right, and we did walk that
Yeah, we
road.
did
We
walk
we
that.
walked on that road.
It's
and
asphalt, they're gonna rip that out, like he said,
Yep, and it's
so
long.
I think that's a great offer.
Yeah, I agree, and you can see that on the landscape plan where that's going to be.
Yep.
The mitigation. So, and that's well more than anything that's going to be disturbed. Curtis, you have anything that you want to add on this? Anything you noticed today when you were there?
No, nothing to add.
No? Carl, you were there? Anything that
No, it's pretty clear.
that comes to mind? Dan?
So, on the south end of the south side of the B Road, I know we're just talking about the roadways right now. Have we reiterated our stand with the town's bylaws as it stands with what I'm looking at is buildable and what is not, for why they're putting the roads out there in the first place? Just,
You mean for in the
Okay, well-
future?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, because too often what we do is we approve these things in stages only to then say, oh, well, now it's a hardship for them because they put all this money into this road and now they can't build a house there. That's not fair. Whereas we could give them a heads up now as to before all this is developed. And we've talked about this, ad nauseum over the years. So, you know where I'm coming from. But there are some, and I guess the other piece is Lot 3. They're talking about being open space.
No, that's the open space parcel.
I think that's just what I just said. Lot
Okay.
3 is going to be open space.
Lot 3 is one of the developable lots.
It's a developable lot.
Yes.
The open space parcel is designated
Upper
as
left.
an open space parcel
I'm
A.
reading one here that says Lot 3 out here.
The 107 acres.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there are 4 lots. 1, 2, 3, 4. This
Okay.
is the open space here. This is where the existing cranberry.
Oh, well, I would
farms
hope so, yeah, there,
Yeah.
but out here, okay.
are. No, I mean, there are wetlands there in the right at the Plimpton line.
Yeah,
And they've been well delineated and they've been looked at on a number of occasions.
okay.
but that is, correct me if I'm wrong, the definitive plan here is basically just for road and infrastructure. The lots are identified, the 4 lots are identified primarily as a means to explain why the roads are designed the way they are. That pretty much correct?
Yeah, that's accurate, yeah.
And there's nothing to stop them down the road if they want to adjust those lines between each lot, correct?
Correct, yeah. So those are shown as developable lots as we see, but those could be
Sure,
further
they could
cut
be-
up or, as long as they're dimensionally compliant, so.
Right. So there was nothing really that I saw today that was problematic. I do like the idea of getting rid of that paved road and returning that to nature adjacent to the riverfront. I think that's a great solution and will help quite a bit. Anybody from the audience have any comments that they'd like to make?
I have a few.
Come on up.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I just have a quick question.
You, please, thank you,
And sign in too, please.
just like everybody else.
Hi. I just was looking for...
Name, please.
Rebecca Lipton.
Thank you.
So I was wondering if we have any, are these up on the town website? Are these maps all, uploaded so we can look at them?
The whole submittal's been up there for a couple weeks.
Okay. Any wetlands delineation maps on here?
They all have,
Because it doesn't really look very clear to me.
they're there, aren't they?
Right here. Yeah, all these flags, again, it's stuff at this scale.
It is tough at this scale.
All the plans do have them at this scale as well, which has a numbering scheme and numbering, legible numbering assigned to all the flags, so that this represents the delineation.
Where's the PFAS site? Do you have any larger in relationship to this project and the river, the western?
I believe it's in the rear portion, so outside of the limit of one.
Do you have a total portion map of that? Or no? So the PFAS site is right here? And what about the 65-foot wet,
65 foot is the
under the green line? So they're not encroaching on the 60-foot? 65?
Only here, just a little bit right here. That's the only area where they go, that's what they need the variance for. And there's a little bit of 100 foot here, and 100 foot on both sides. But that's the only area.
And why is that though?
Well, there's a wetland across the street, there's nothing they can do about that.
Well, that's why they have rules surrounding that.
Well, I mean, this is where Montello
Savory,
Street
in
is.
all due respect, aren't you on Route 44 redevelopment authority board?
No, I'm on the Carver.
Carver, well, that's what I mean. I'm sorry. So I'm not understanding why you're not recusing yourself from this.
Because they're not related. I'm on the redevelopment authority, which is a quasi state and local government panel. One has nothing to do with the other.
I have to
You asked me a question.
beg to differ with that one, but
You asked me a question. This road already exists. They need to get to this road from here. These wetland delineations are from a river that is across the street. So there's nothing they could do other than moving all of Montello Street. But that's
well,
That's
we do
more
have,
damaging than something that's already there.
okay, but we do have rules surrounding that.
And we have.
Those
we have-
are rules, those are,
And we have means called variances.
I know, we know that you like to give those out.
Okay.
We're aware of that.
Does anybody else have any comments?
Yeah, I'm just concerned about the massive PFAS
That has nothing to do-
coming towards Plimpton. But if you start disturbing all this soil and start moving things, it's definitely a concern. There's already PFAS in wells in Plimpton.
This has nothing to do, this is for the road and the infrastructure surrounding the road. It has nothing to
Well,
do.
I think roads and infrastructure can definitely cause problems with movement of water and soil and everything else. So I'm definitely concerned about it. And I also do feel that if
Could you come up here so that you're in the microphone, please? If you're going
I
to,
think everybody can hear me.
No, it has to go on the
It's-
record.
Yeah.
Well,
if you're going to continue speaking, I need you to sit up here.
I've said everything I have to say.
Okay.
Saber.
All right. Anybody else?
Good evening.
Hi.
My name's Mark Rothfuss. I'm at 20 Montello. There is still a Montello Street, but I happen to be just over the Plimpton side. I just want to say, Dan, hate to see you go. I've watched these boards and meetings for quite a while. You're a voice of reason, and I was sorry to see you go. Thank you for your service.
Thank
I
you.
do have a question.
Can you sign in, please, when you get a chance?
Yeah. From the road that's being taken out, from the river itself, what is the distance from the actual river bed or bank to where the new road A is going to be? You said it's outside 100-foot buffer. What is that distance?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's approximately 130 feet.
So there's only one small area. I didn't realize Road B was an encroachment too with the opposite side. I saw some people over there flagging and doing some work over there, and I didn't realize that was deemed wetland on that side. I mean, this is interesting information. I didn't know it was posted. I'll try to take a look. My only other concern was, like Rebecca mentioned, I wish there was some information about that PFAS mitigation. It's happening. I walk my dogs around that property. I can, I'm right there. And I know that work's been done. How that all plays into this, and like you said, it does.
All right. You can get a hold of me. I'm in tomorrow morning. There's a thing the state has waste sites called an RTN number. Okay.
Oh,
I can give you
I downloaded those documents.
Okay, there's a ton of stuff.
Yeah,
That's all the work that was done on it.
Is there, I've looked at the whole plan, the phase 4 mitigation plan,
Did
phase 5.
you see all the reports they're that thick?
Yeah, it's 280 pages. I don't see anything that says where it's at today in progress, unless I'm missing it. I don't know.
They capped it,
Right.
and that's where it sits right now.
And is it complete?
He's asking if they've been monitoring any plume movement.
There's an annual
Am I right, sir?
monitoring in the wells.
Right, are they done with that?
You'd have to look and see what they have, if they've updated the information on that state's, on the searchable sites. And you can also contact the engineer, because all their information's right there under that RTN number. And they'll give you that information, because they have to.
Weren't they only going to do that once a year?
Yes, annually in the spring.
Okay, so that's not going to be done till the spring, Mark, so,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, it's going to be done in the spring
But it was,
because...
but it was done
We got a
last
half-
spring,
Yeah.
We got a
2023.
Archaic capping job on the PFAS site instead of the technology that we have now to mitigate it correctly. And now we're not even going to know how our water supply is till spring. That's what we got.
Well, I've had DEP out
Thank you,
testing
Bob.
my well. I think that's a whole nother issue. It seems like as part of all this, I had Lakeville come down and test for PFAS, and I don't know why it wasn't done for everybody on Heaven's Path in that whole area. I'm stymied by that. It's amazing. But they were very gracious to do myself. And Rebecca's. I don't know. I just had a thought too. My only other, and this has been brought up before in other meetings, they say they don't have to divulge. Dan, you asked an appropriate question. Why? We want to know. There's future concerns. Like, I understand legally we don't have to say why, but can't we find out why? Like, what's happening? it's a big secret, and I have problems with that.
They're doing this to create 4 buildable lots, basically, is what the reason is.
I understand that. It's been-
Commercial,
But for what? I
residential,
mean, we
what?
got medical going in,
Yeah.
somebody knows, right?
They're putting in the infrastructure to create a minimum of 4 buildable lots.
Right.
There is nothing else that's known. They probably have not rented them yet, they probably have not leased them, they probably don't have a buyer. This is for infrastructure only and to get a permit from the planning board to do this work, which then becomes a selling point for the properties. So you don't know you don't know what's going to go
That's
there.
great, because 25 years ago, when we were fighting against
Thank
that
you.
construction, demolition, medical waste, biosolid facility, which is end up in our water, by the way, it took us 3 years to get rid of that guy, but they still dump sewage sludge in our water supply, and now we have, within how many miles, we have 3 PFAS sites. So you're gonna tell us now at this, that we don't know what's going in there?
That's right. That's what we're telling
But
you.
that's unacceptable, because,
Well, no, it's not.
well, hey, we already have 3 PFAS sites. Right in a small amount of area. So, I mean, I just feel like, are we getting industrial, medical? What are we getting?
They would have to meet, for how that area is zoned, they would have to go to the town planning board, and they would have to meet all the planning board considerations for what can and cannot be put in that property.
Okay.
These are questions for the planning board.
Okay, but the engineer came here in October, and they told us that they found PFAS in the Whetstone Brook, dumped in there. Material dumped in the Whetstone Brook, from people that were up there doing business, not regulated by Carver, obviously. And so now, where's the trust? Where are we supposed to have the trust that, you know, our water's gonna get better? Because we are downstream from this.
I understand that.
It's unfortunate that you have a lot of residential neighborhoods downstream from this, and that have PFAS in their wells now, because of what Carver allowed them to do up here, Savory. I've said it before, this is, you know, unfair to everybody to not know what's going on with this project.
But no one knows. You keep thinking that not everything is a conspiracy theory. No one knows what's going to go there.
But our facts are that we have 3 major PFAS sites here in a small area of Carver in the water supply. Okay, it's in our water supply.
Right.
And that, we don't know anything about what's going on up here. And this site was polluted. It is polluted. They've slapped a Band-Aid on it by capping it, which is not what they should have done, Steve. And you know that, and pretty much Alan Germain sat up there in Concom and said, get rid of the dirty dirt. Well, guess what? It's in our water. They permitted this guy to go up there, and he dumped it in our water supply. So now people's wells are polluted. And so you're going to have all of us wondering what's going on up there, and how is it going to get worse for us?
Every lot, if and when they are sold or leased or whatever Route 44 development does with them, has to come in front of planning. Most likely will have to come in front of us. We'll have to go in front of earth removal. So that is when we'll know, everybody will know, including Route 44, what kind of a business is going to go here.
That Whetstone Brook that has the PFAS in it is part of the Taunton River watershed.
I know that.
And we're giving permits, we're giving special 65-foot, you know, okay, do whatever you want.
No, we're not. We're giving them permission to build about 10 feet of a roadway in a 65-foot buffer zone. That's what we're asking, so that their driveway can connect to an existing road that's already in the 65-foot buffer
We should
zone.
be figuring out how to
Well,
And not throwing a Band-Aid on a massive toxic dump.
well, you're entitled to your opinion. There's PFAS everywhere. I agree that, maybe everybody in Heather's Path should be tested for PFAS. Maybe everyone in Carver should be. Because there's PFAS in South Carver, there's PFAS in Center Carver, and it's not coming from North Carver.
Listen, Ravenbrook got a cap on it too, okay? That's a mess. That needs to be remitigated, in my opinion. We just, boom, slapped a Band-Aid on that one too, you know? Where's the state? How come this is acceptable? This should not be what's happening here. There's ways to mitigate this. And it's just unfair to residents.
Don't forget, when they explain to you, there aren't any sites that take contaminated soil at this point.
But they're expensive.
But they're limited on what they take. So right now, they cap it until they can figure a way to remediate this. So they're containing it until they can come up with a solution. Right now, that's the current technology.
Okay, we're just gonna build a big, whatever you're building out there.
Well, you have to remember,
On a
this-
toxic dump site.
this portion of the site, PFAS haven't been proven that they're there. Not to say that they're not, but they haven't been proven that they are.
We're never gonna know anything if they only monitor the water supply once a year. Right, exactly.
I got a quick question. Where I walk my dogs around.
Don't let them drink out of
I
any
walk
place.
up there, where they've consolidated in cap. So potentially, I know the original plan was to build on it, or, the whole thing. Where that has been consolidated, so still the future possibility is there to pave right across it. And I know it stops rain permeation and all that kind of stuff, but wouldn't it be better to zone that as not buildable so it can be properly monitored, verify the integrity of that barrier and all that kind of thing? Or, that's way beyond, outside my wheelhouse, but, to keep that as a reserve area, so.
My personal opinion, and it's not scientific at all, my personal opinion is that the more impervious surface that is between the rain and the cap, the better, because that's going to divert the water away from the cap. It should-
Have you ever heard of aqua, this water moves under the ground safely, that's where our aquifer.
I know, but if it, I don't want to go back and forth. We've done this a million times, Rebecca.
It's just a crazy, crazy thought process, though.
It's not, it's not.
It moves quickly underground.
I understand that, but it's going to rain anyway, and if you have a second layer of a paved parking lot, keeping that rain from impregnating the ground over the PFAS, I think, my personal opinion is that's better than not having it.
Savory, let me just say, have you watched the news at all these rainstorms with all these roads collapsing everywhere?
Yes.
Sinking houses, foundations. It's the way the hydroflow is. It's just the way it is,
All
That's
right.
not gonna help anything.
All right, anyway, that's my opinion.
Tar over a toxic PFAS dump is not going to help.
I told you that's my opinion. It's not scientific at all.
You know what? We need further investigation on this because, there's a lot of information out there on how to mitigate PFAS. And it's better than throwing a Band-Aid of dirt on it. But that's what we get down here. The neighbors of Carver. This is what we get.
All right. Anybody else?
Are they going to test the soils? When they do the work, do they test the soils for more PFAS during this process?
No, I think they've done testing all across the entire parcel.
Well, if we're going to be disturbing new soils, I mean, I don't know, I'm just
Yeah,
asking,
we're
is
gonna
that?
disturb all the soil.
Yeah, there's been extensive soil investigation done across the site. That's part of what was reviewed early in this process as we worked with the town. We were required to do a lot of soil testing as well as part of the definitive subdivision preparation and filing that was observed by Board of Health, DPW. It's all, good sandy soils in this area. Nothing identified that would flag any concerns of contamination, but obviously we're going to follow all state, local, and federal regulations as part of the earth work and movement.
Is DEP in charge of that? Where you tested all your soils in this PFAS area in this, project you're doing, so you have that all on record where your soils were tested and who is doing it and who's overseeing it?
Yeah, go ahead.
As far as I know, there was no, DEP requirement for the testing that was performed as part of the subdivision roadway. And again, we have licensed site professional who's been involved in, obviously, the project and the site for a long time, that's reviewed the materials, reviewed the limits of work, did not express any concerns or flag anything that would require such. And we've got an extensive team, a geotechnical, engineer as well, so.
So has there been soil samples in this area that you're proposing to work? Has that been tested for PFAS?
I'm not 100% sure. I could check with the geotechnical engineer. I know they've been following, again, the rules and regulations,
Right.
local and state.
I get that.
As part of that investigation, I'm not exactly sure if they did samples or to what extent they did testing, if any, in this area.
No, I was just curious, that's all.
Just to follow up on that, it's a good question. You're talking about, exempt environmental, Jacobs Begley was the LSP. Are they still involved in that? It's still the same overall project, it's still the same parcel? We're making changes to it now. Is James Begley, the LSP, still engaged?
Excuse me again? Sorry.
The LSP for this site.
Yeah.
That filed that 218-page, what we were just talking about at the RTM. Yeah, are they still engaged? The company is called NT Environmental. James Begley was the LSP. So it's still the same parcel, and it's being changed a little bit. They did the whole mock-up of this whole thing, the whole plan, the whole mitigation plan, and everything for the site. All the water testing went through them. Are they still engaged in this?
I don't know who's doing the testing, but I mean, nothing's really changed. The parcel's the same.
Right.
You'd have to contact the property owner to see if he's retained him. Because that's a
So
DEP
it's
matter.
status quo, same property owner.
As of right now, it's owned by
Okay.
Route 44
Yeah.
Development.
And he has to answer to DEP until that, is all closed and
Maybe
resolved.
that's what I was asking before.
Yeah.
This is what,
That whole big plan I read about the other is that, where is the process, is that, and is the LSP still engaged? So
Right.
I'll look at it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We don't engage in haz waste. That's directly through DEP.
And I would assume that, as these parcels are leased or purchased from Route 44, that whoever is the new owner or leaser would be doing soil sampling for anything that they're going to build, I would assume.
Yeah, again,
That's
I
general
think
practice.
there's a lot of regulations around all of this, right? And this has been closely monitored and coordinated with Mass DEP throughout the whole process. So we'll continue, that owner applicant will continue to follow the rules and regulations and retain a LSP for any such work and work closely with both the town and the state and at the federal level as needed.
once a year, PFAS water testing is not closely monitored in my opinion, okay? It's
I don't want to rehash what we talked about before. You were here when we talked about it before. Because of the unpredictableness of drought cycles and rain cycles, testing anymore doesn't give good results. That's why they decided that once a year, they set a standard. Springtime was when they had found that the number was the highest. So they made a determination to test every spring to see.
We have a very wet year to save rates.
I know, and the wet and dry changes what the PFAS number is going to be. So if you change, if you did it every week and we had 7 inches of rain, it's going to change week to week,
It
probably.
changes within a month or 2 months.
It could do it in a week. That's why,
That's why we want.
but then you don't have,
PFAS
you
testing.
don't set a standard. You don't set a bar from which to compare because everything's,
I don't think that's true. I
Well,
think that's what they
that's-
want to do.
You have good concerns, you should take them to DEP,
We
because
will.
that's out of our
We will.
wheelhouse.
We're gonna go, we will.
okay.
Please do, seriously, because that's beyond what,
Yeah.
what our limits are for
The
jurisdiction.
the state of Massachusetts is not even in line with the EPA right now, okay? As far as standards on PFAS. The EPA is at 0 and Massachusetts is at what, 20 or something?
Well,
like
again,
that?
you'd have to take that up with DEP.
So,
Right. Okay. Yes.
Just to, so I might be down the road on the other side of this committee in not too long from now, and so I just wanted to suggest a couple things. I know to move things along or to make our bylaws and our procedures more robust, we end up having to create articles and go into town warrant and so forth. But we do have the ability from a standard operating procedure to, as a committee, agree on how we implement said bylaws. And I wanted to just, we've talked about this a while back, but what would trigger a technical review committee on a case-by-case basis? We have something like this that's pretty complex. It doesn't just involve, people have been throwing the word wheelhouse a lot, and I've always complained that there's really some lack of communication and linkage between a lot of committees that have some say on the same project.
We've already had one on this project.
Right, but what, not just for this one, but for projects in general, I'm talking about SOP in general. What triggers, other than us getting enough voices from the community or amongst this body to trigger?
Right
a
now,
technical review committee?
Tom Bott, the town planner, he's the one that usually calls for it.
Okay.
He's been the coordinator so far to date.
And just so that, because we've in the past had issues with after the fact NOIs and things like that. I know that's not what this is, but is there something that we as a body can issue when somebody does submit an NOI, to issue a copy of our bylaws and have them sign that they've read it, so that they acknowledge that so there aren't any whoopsie daisies down the road
I have
with
a
projects.
document when they pick up their OOC or whatever, okay? Or there's whatever they're picking up, and at the bottom it states, I, the undersigned, whoever picking that up, I understand everything that has to do with this. I get them to sign, they sign that when they pick it up. Number one, it shows they picked that document up. Number two, they understand everything that goes with it.
Are you talking about before they come to us?
Yeah.
All right, so it's more,
I know, but I'm just,
Yeah.
right
Yeah,
now,
no, I
I'm
appreciate
trying to
that.
set something, so I've got that at least in place.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out a way for us to have some actual traction with, we put some time over the years into making things more robust, and to deal with things after the fact is tough. And the fact that, our main mandate is to protect our resources, water particularly, would also be to perhaps, when looking at cases, to require gradient maps, so that we understand when cases like a couple ones that we're hearing before tonight and worry about where the effluent of a filtration system, well, hey, maybe they're just inside the 65 grade, except the gradient goes straight down into wetlands. That you don't need to be have a PhD in hydrology to know that that's a problem. So procedurally, I'd like to suggest to this body to think about putting together that as a standard when having somebody comes before us with a case, not only to have mapped out of delineating the 65 and 100 and Riverfront, but also the gradient, so we understand if it's, so we can make a more informed decision when or if we are going to give a variance. We are not a variance stamp committee, but information like that can help us make better decisions because we'll have more information in hand.
Remember that flyer
Yeah.
we were putting together?
Yeah.
I'm still waiting to hear back from the state agency that's editing for us. That reminds me, I'll shoot them an email and say, where is it?
It's as it pertains.
That's a start.
As it pertains to all the, I don't want to call it fear factor because there are things that are worth being fearful about. I know I'm in an area where in my own home we have, PFAS is one thing. PFAS, I hate using the term flavor of the month, but it's a thing, but it's not the only thing that's in our water that's a problem. And it's one of the things that you were saying that, soil's been tested and so forth. I would always ask, well, what is the soil profile? Because, you can do a whole test, but what was in the analysis? What was left out? And some things I know you said you're going to look because you're not sure. But there are specific concerns, that our town, our region has a very sensitive topography. So any work that is done, like it or not, affects things hydrologically. Maybe it doesn't push a plume of contaminant, but it does affect things hydrologically. Case in point, Pine Street, there were huge problems with development where their neighbors all of a sudden had flooding issues that they never had before. The reason for that is because new structures were built on properties and that hydrologically speaking, pushed water toward those properties and they had flooding that they never had. It wasn't magic, it wasn't a 100-year storm, it was the fact that there was buildings being put up nearby. Harmless, out of our wheelhouse, but a problem and became our problem because of the issues that they ended up having from something that wasn't technically inside our jurisdiction. So I'm just saying all these things are connected, which is why I like technical review committees. I don't mind having my feet put to the fire as long as we can keep all the other committees communicating and honest with one another with what's going on. And, admit if we need to be more informed in a given area, it's okay to say, I don't know, but not make quick decisions because we're being pushed for fiscal reasons or for political reasons or for reasons that we just want the problem to go away, because it won't go away.
We do email projects around to each other for comment.
yeah.
Just so you know.
Yeah.
We do talk some. Well, I can't say it's bulletproof and we're 100% in, come on.
Yeah. No,
But we try.
No, I get it.
And plus myself, I'm only part-time. So
I'm only looking in your
have the
direction 'cause
I
I'm
don't have the
left-handed,
gas
it's
to
not
do
you.
all this review, dude.
Yeah, no,
It'd be nice.
Yeah.
You should be sitting where Curtis is then.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, if I was sitting in your seat, I'd be I'm just happen to be looking over at you,
I
but.
agree 100%, Dan, just, thank you for saying that. I've been sitting up here listening to everything, and our prior agent, before you came on, actually caused a lot of harm and damage by changing the planning board, something the planning board had done originally, and went and did a little backdoor thing at the bog and allowed 3,800 or more chromated copper arsenic holes to be drilled down into the ground and cause arsenic problems, which is on a state portal now. So we know that doesn't exactly happen around here in this town. I know that you just got here recently, but this was a problem, and we spent a lot of time and money protesting those chromated copper arsenic holes. And we finally got them to get rid of them. And now there's arsenic in the water there. So this is part of the problem with...
Well, would you please forward that data to me then?
It's right in the portal. It's in the DEP portal. If you just go on it, you can look on it yourself, and it shows...
all right.
You can see, it's right on Tremont Street.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
You can see the arsenic in there yourself.
An increase in arsenic?
Well, they tested it after they took the poles out, or roughly around that time, yeah.
But that doesn't prove that it came from the poles. Arsenic's a natural,
They tested for that, and it's in there, so.
all right, anyway. Back to what you said, Dan, a couple of things. Generally speaking, I believe that almost every plan we look at does have elevations on it. So I would say 90% of what we look at has elevations.
does.
So we can see where flow is. Even these do. I mean, it's very faint on these that from Bowler, but it's there. I'm looking at one right now, and it has all of the elevations surrounding this what we've looked at tonight. The second thing is, you make a good point about people understanding our bylaws. And there are times when we don't ask the applicant to come in. We just rely on the surveyor, engineer,
Yeah.
whatever. And we don't know if the applicant understands everything. So perhaps we should require that the applicant come to all NOI hearings, along with whatever engineer is there, and ask him that question, him or her
That's
that
fair
question.
enough. Yeah.
Have you read the bylaws? Because the problem, the engineering firms that generally come before us know the rules.
Right.
And they're very good about it. Where we run into problems is that after we approve them, the applicant goes and changes things. So,
I just think if we, in a more proactive way, get the information out there as best as we can, we're cultivating better applicants. In terms of-
smarter. Maybe not
better.
Smarter equals better.
Touche.
Doesn't always equal better, but well. But in terms of things being circumnavigated, we've come across too many cases where I'm sure in their plan as a line item, they're planning on paying a fine so they can get away with doing whatever they want to do anyway. And when we get into that side of things, that's why I like the idea of having some TRC aspect of things to more complicated projects to kind of nip those things in the bud before they go too far.
Well, there generally are a technical review committee on anything that's
And we're
large
going to
scale.
have more in this project also, I believe. So, yeah, we already had one about 5-6 weeks ago.
I mean, you're more directly involved with these things than I think
Right.
myself, but the ones that I knew about or had sat in on in the past or whatever, it was sort of we were dealing with issues after the fact, and
Right.
that's
No,
all.
this one the ground hasn't been touched yet.
Yeah.
Right, and technical review committees are generally town employees only. No, I'm not invited to them as chairman, even though wetlands are involved.
Sure.
Gary goes as the agent and is the representative for us at those meetings, just like, building inspector, fire.
Yeah, we had
EMS.
everyone there, health, DPW, the whole slew of town people.
Right, and Tom represents planning at those meetings, so,
Sarah, just two points.
yes.
I agree, Dan, I've watched a lot of these, and even among boards, there's discontent and disagreement. I think more joint meetings, specific project-based would be in order, but I'll just leave that at that, it's not my wheelhouse. Is it acceptable to be included on when order conditions come out on this, to be included in it? Is that done?
What's that now?
I don't understand your question.
I don't either.
This, the notice of intent,
So hypothetically, if this was approved,
yes,
would there be an order of conditions?
right. Is
Yes.
there an
Yeah.
approval or order of conditions
Yes,
for this?
there will be
There will be if it's approved.
after the vote.
Yep.
Yes, there are standard
There are
boilerplate.
13 pages and then any special conditions the commissioners want on
Can you
it.
get on a notification list for that, is that possible?
What, that we put that out?
Right.
Well, if you watch the meetings or attend the meetings and the commissioners vote on it, then automatically, we have to cut a OOC, order of conditions, for every particular NOI, or if it's an RDA, say, you know, we cut something different for that.
Notification list for that, or is it just posted, or how does?
Well, if it's approved, it's automatic. I mean, I put it out usually the next day or the day after.
And it's posted on the website.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's not a notification function.
Yeah, we don't have
To
to put it in
abutters.
the paper or,
No,
but it's automatic. If it's approved, they automatic, and it's cut right away.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't wait a month or 6 weeks or anything. They're cut usually within a few days.
Something we told them.
And you can always call.
Okay. So, I think we're done with the conversation here. I will accept a notice, a motion to close the hearing of SE 126676.
We gotta continue.
Oh, we're going to continue.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's a long day.
It is a long day.
Seriously.
I'll accept a motion to continue the hearing of SE 126-676 until our meeting on December 6th, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
All right? Dan made the motion. Carl seconded it. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none? All right, so we're continued to the 6th.
Great.
All right? Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right.
You know, you can also make copies of these off the website too, with your printer. It's been there for 2 weeks. It says applications under review. That's the heading.
All right. Minutes, October 25th. Has everyone read them?
Yep. Yes.
All right. Curtis, you had a typo
Yep.
that you found. Could you just identify what that was?
Under the 17 Wareham Street update, the sentence that says they have no replied should be not replied.
All right. So in the second line, no should be not. All right. I'll accept a motion to approve the minutes as edited, as corrected.
So moved.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes as corrected for October 25th. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none? All right, I think that we're done. Dan, again, thank you very much
Yep. Thank you.
for everything you've done. I think this is probably your last meeting.
It is.
So thanks again for everything. We will certainly see you.
See you around campus, as they say.
You want
Yes.
you want to keep your nameplate?
Want to take it?
No, I'm sure I'm gonna join something else and cause more
Yeah, well,
trouble somewhere else.
take it along with you then.
He's gonna take it when he sits in the audience and put it on his lap.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where's them kind of?
Put that right next to it.
That's my gag. That's my gag. I used to do that to Alan.
All right, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. All right, it's been moved and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, we're out. Thank you, Area 58.
Thank you.